Coffee is very much like wine in terms of its regions, and each region might have a different taste, each farm might have a different taste. So we might say, well, here's a Kenyan bean or here's a Brazilian bean. It's a little like wine tasting for coffee. To make the perfect coffee, it starts right back at the beginning when the coffee tree is planted. And once they've been harvested, they're obviously then shipped as green beans over to the UK. The roaster then has to look at that particular bean and decide how he's going to roast it. They arrive in store. It's then at that point where the barista has the opportunity to show their skill.
We grind each cup to order. So say a customer comes in and wants a double espresso, we sometimes have beans delivered that have literally been roasted 1 or 2 days before we come to grind them. So the customer is getting a very fresh cup of coffee.
The barista decides what they're going to be making, and then they grind the bean. And there's lots of different levels of grinding that we can do for each bean. And it really depends on what the bean's going to be used for. So if it's espresso, it might be quite a fine grind. If it's a filter, it would be less fine.
We have 4 different types of filter coffee, and each one has different taste characteristics which can be, applied to the region where it comes from. A coffee in Brazil might taste more woody than a coffee from India. So the difference between Americano and filter. Americano is double espresso topped up with a dash of hot water. If you do genuinely like the taste of coffee, I personally would recommend filter because its taste is much more consistent. It's flavoursome and you really get an idea of the taste of the coffee. A filter, all the hot water is filtered through. It's ground into a paper filter, which is then filtrated in a stand right in front of the customer. And I've never seen this done anywhere else. It's quite a feast for the senses before you get your cup of coffee.
The barista uses their skill with the milk to heat it to the right temperature, to steam it correctly and pour that into the coffee to create the perfect coffee.
As a barista at Urban Coffee, I've had quite a lot of experience. I've made thousands of cups of coffee, and there are a few things I've learned and sort of got into really concentrating on the consistency and making sure each cup is made to the highest possible standard. Milk is quite important because you have to have the right amount of foam without it getting too hot, too cold, too foamy. But now I think I've got it down to a T. When I'm steaming milk, I hold the jug very still as possible, and then you're then able to gauge how much foam you need. The difference between a latte and cappuccino is that latte has much less foam. Cappuccino is a much more foamy drink. You have about 1 inch of foam at the top. And the idea is you get, a bit of foam and a bit of drink, and it creates a good texture in the mouth.
They've also can create what we call latte art. That's where they're using again the milk, and as they're pouring the milk into the top of the coffee, they can create patterns and shapes and into the coffee itself. So you end up with a leaf or a bear or something like that as a gift to the customer.
One thing that we make quite regularly is the leaf, and it's basically there's a certain technique in pouring where you kind of dip the jug just at the right moment, and then you have this sort of swirly effect, and then that creates the sort of side bits of the leaf, and then you then pour straight through, and that makes the stem. It's really about presentation. It's not about showing off or anything like that. It's just to make the cup of coffee look good. It's a nice little touch.